Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. My name is Jesse Dollamore. I'm subbing for David this week. I'm kind of like Yukon Cornelius, a cartoon from your favorite childhood Christmas special, animated by some witchcraft and brought to life. And I hold in my hand follow-up from yesterday. Yesterday, I talked about a lawsuit filed by Dominion Voting Systems against Newsmax, OANN, or One America News, and Patrick Byrne, who apparently is the CEO of Overstock.com. They're being sued for defamation in a wide-ranging, hundreds of millions of dollars, like a $1.2 billion lawsuit for defamation in their pursuit of election propaganda. The big lie that Donald Trump didn't, in fact, lose, and Joe Biden didn't, in fact, win. Even though they come with zero evidence, they play their weird propaganda movies on OAN, produced by My Pillow Ding Dong. It is all surreal. And in this lawsuit, this 213-page lawsuit, it really also illuminates another issue related to the right. And that is their dedication to propaganda, their dedication to the lies. They're propping up of figures who are not of any repute as experts. And that is the case that I want to talk about today. And that is from January of 2021, OAN put a guy on the air promoting him as an expert mathematician, a professional, holding expertise in advanced mathematics. When in fact, spoiler alert, I'll get to it, he is not a mathematician. He holds no degrees. He is in fact a convicted drug dealer, and according to the lawsuit, an installer of swing sets. Who made wild claims that some algorithm flipped the election through complex mathematical things that go way beyond my ability. I'm going to read a little bit from this lawsuit because it is remarkable. Starting on page 101, if you happen to have a copy of it or you're reading along. On January 27th, 2021, OAN broadcast a segment hosted by Trump campaign affiliate Christina Bobb. She's an OAN employee, in which she interviewed a supposed quote-unquote expert mathematician named Ed Solomon, who claimed he had uncovered mathematical evidence proving that the November 2020 election results were quote-unquote impossible, and that therefore, quote, computer software must have used an algorithm to change the votes, end quote. Must have been the case. Solomon claimed that the results, quote, can only have been done by an algorithm. It can't be done by humans, unquote, says the swing set installer. After he supposedly analyzed the results in Fulton County, Georgia, where Dominion machines were used to tabulate votes. He then claimed that the odds... All right. Now listen to this. This is, one, dangerous, scary, that we were on the brink of having an election overturned. This is serious, but it's also laughable that an actual network... Apparently, all it takes to create a network to spread propaganda and to gin up fear and whip Republicans into a frenzy is to have a few $1 million laying around and willing to spend them on the creation of a TV network, if you want to call it that, One America News, which is based just a few miles down the road from where I live in Southern California, there in San Diego. This is what he said. He then claimed that the odds of those results occurring naturally were, quote, 1 over 10 to an exponent so large, there's not enough stars in the universe, comma, there aren't enough atoms in the universe to explain the number. You know, spoken like someone with an advanced degree in mathematics. This is what passes for expertise in the Republican Party. It is disgusting. It is actually scary. Moving on, Solomon's claims were ludicrous. OAN knew it. Again, I'm reading from a lawsuit here. And at a minimum, recklessly disregarded the truth. OAN knew Solomon's claims were false because Dominion had expressly notified OAN of independent evidence debunking them, because former President Donald Trump's own administration had debunked them, and because OAN itself had effectively acknowledged it by secretly removing several articles and broadcasts from its own website that made similar claims. Again, this is not a reputable journalistic outlet. This flies in the face of journalistic standards. There are standard operating procedures with journalists relative to correcting the record. Listen, any endeavor that is run by human beings is going to be fraught with the possibility of incorrect information, getting something wrong. And they have rules in place to make sure that they correct the record, that they own the mistake. Deleting an article or deleting a video because it's going to get you in legal hot water or because it was wrong isn't the way to do it. You note, this article has been updated to reflect the most accurate information. A previous edition of this article contained an incorrect blah, blah, blah. There's a correction, a mea culpa, if you will. That is not the case with OAN, because they are not a journalistic outlet. They are a propaganda outlet serving the wild conspiracies of Donald Trump, serving at the mission and the behest of a man who wants to tear down the fabric of democracy in America. Continuing with the lawsuit. OAN also knew Solomon's claims were bogus because Solomon was the farthest thing imaginable from an expert mathematician. He was, in fact, a convicted felon with no college degree. Nonetheless, OAN broadcast and endorsed as its own Solomon's preposterous and baseless allegations that the 2020 election was rigged through computer algorithms Solomon claimed were implemented in voting machines in the very counties and jurisdictions that use Dominion machines. Now, other than the fact that this sentence in this lawsuit is in desperate need of a few commas, this isn't looking good for OAN. This isn't looking good for Newsmax. And I'm going to get to it. It's not looking good for even Solomon here. Dominion notified OAN. This is the crux of it, though. They were notified by OAN of all these things, and they still continued to do what they did for months. They're still doing it, in fact. Dominion notified OAN that Solomon was no expert mathematician and that he was actually a convicted drug dealer who never graduated college and whose current job was setting up swing sets in Long Island, New York. At some point thereafter, OAN quietly removed the videos and story from its originally published location on its website, but the video remains available on OAN's Rumble page and on another landing page on its main website. Again, this is what passes for journalism, and this is what passes for truth in conservative circles.
One of our sponsors is CuriosityStream, the only subscription streaming service dedicated to documentaries. I know my audience is filled with people who love documentaries just like I do. If you don't yet have CuriosityStream, you are really missing out. They have all the biggest and newest documentaries from the world's best filmmakers. I can tell you firsthand, CuriosityStream has a way better selection of documentaries than Netflix or Hulu or Amazon. I'm always finding documentaries on CuriosityStream that I'm not seeing anywhere else. I can watch on all of my devices, whether it's at night, at home, on the couch, or on the go on my phone or wherever. I just finished watching Life at the Limits. Super interesting about people who live in really extreme places on Earth. I know anyone who watches my show will love CuriosityStream. And the best part is that for a limited time, when you go to curiositystream.com/Pacman, you will get 25% off a subscription, which makes it just $15 a year. The link is right underneath this video.